Look at this guy here. He's entirely made of dinosaurs. There's 3 dinosaurs in this thing, plus there's me. Even though I'm part penguin, of course. We need more dinosaurs to rampage. You hear me? More! Dee-doom, dee-doom. What is this coming over here? I guess I asked for more dinosaurs. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. And we're taking a look this time at the Commander class figure for this year. This is Magmatron. Magmatron was a character that appeared in the Beast Wars Neo series in Japan. That was back in 1999. So as such, since he only appeared in a Japanese series, predominantly most of his toys were released in Japan, and that year only. However, in the year 2000, he would get an American release, which was a slight modification of the original Japanese toy to reduce some of the spring-loaded launchers and such to more adhere to US toy safety standards. After that, Magmatron would not get a new toy for 25 years. So here it is in 2024, which would exactly be 25 years later from his original release, that we get a new version of him, and one that's more seen around the world. As Larry pointed out, Magmatron here is a fusion of 3 different dinosaurs. We have a flying, what do they call it there, Quetzalcoatlus? Something along those lines. And we got an Elasmosaurus that's partially forming the shield. And we got a Gigantosaurus that forms most of the main body. In the lore featured in the Beast Wars Neo series, Magmatron was the leader of the Predacons. So basically he was the ultimate big bad. But unfortunately, it was mostly painted up as a stereotypical evil character. Surrounded, and his plans for whatever he was after were constantly hindered by the fact that he was forced to work with idiots. For a lot of us, I'm sure that sounds familiar. But all in all, I gotta say, for a toy that's made off of a character I've not really seen a lot of media on, I am rather impressed with how he looks. Standing him up's kind of wonky. We've had a handful of accidents here just trying to get him set up for the video. But at any rate, let's start taking a look at Magmatron's accessories, because we got a lot to cover here on this guy. The first accessory we'll look at here is his shield. Yep, he's gonna fall anyway. The shield, of course, is partially is partially the body of the Elasmosaurus. It's got a little clip in here with a post that's supposed to connect up onto his arm. It is a bit of a fight to get it to do that, because I did have a little bit of trouble getting him to connect when we started things. Stand up. Good dinosaur. Next up we'll take a look at his sword. The sword is a 2-piece unit. The first part is the actual sword itself. It is one that's made of the softer, bendable plastic, which is kind of nice because it means it's not very brittle, so it won't break. The only problem with it is that if it's not stored carefully, it can be set up into a permanent bend. And as you can see here, mine's got a slight curve to the one side, so that's kind of a disappointment, but I'm sure if I sandwiched it between a few thick books, I could probably straighten it out. And there's this other piece, that's the hand grip for the sword, but since it's also colored the same part as the Gigantosaurus, it will also connect in on him. Magmatron also includes several pieces of these energy blasts. There are 4 pieces altogether that connect. And these are made from the same ones that came with the Siege version of Omega Supreme. You can connect them up like that, and you can attach the sword to it, and then connect it in there to form a rather long weapon, but I kind of don't like it because it just feels kind of wonky there. And as you can see, it doesn't take much effort, and we're shaking it up. Plus, it also comes with 3 tips. Now, normally this would be a bonus feature, since on a lot of the older toys that Hasbro had been releasing in the previous years, these blast effects could be connected to the toy in specific spots to signify battle damage. Unfortunately, Magmatron doesn't really have any spots for that feature. So, aside from using the bulk of them to beef up the sword, it's kind of pointless. But I guess they had to do something to justify the $90 price tag. Then lastly, up here on the bird dinosaur, that's what I'm going to refer to it as, because I'm not saying that name again, I already butchered it. We have 2 blades. And of course, on the one side, they are smooth and plain. On the opposite side, they have some posts so that they can be connected to the wings, but they will also fit into his hands. So he has some dual sword fighting mode, which that doesn't look too bad, especially given the fact that a guy of his size, he does have plenty of articulation. But also, given the nature of how he's built, some of that is also a problem. Speaking of the articulation, let's cover that now. His head can be turned from side to side a bit. The problem is that the dinosaur head on the one side tends to get in the way, so it restricts how much his head can be turned. You can raise his arms up about so far, and the arms do rotate all the way, barring a lot of the dinosaur kibble. You can bend the arm at the elbow 90 degrees, and it does have a swivel at the bicep, so he has G.I. Joe battle grip. Even more importantly, at this size, he also has finger articulation. As you can open his hand up totally, you can even shift the thumb aside. And there is wrist articulation. So, yeah, to make up for the fact that you can't move his head much, you do get a lot of hand articulation. He can be twisted a bit at the hips. Again, the kibble gets a bit in the way. You can spread his legs apart into a full splits. He does have a bit of a thigh cut going for him. If we're not careful, he's going to lean backwards on us. You can raise his leg up at the hip. about 90 degrees. You can bend his leg at the knee 90 degrees, and he does have articulated ankles. Of course, that's more for the dinosaur, but hey, you might as well have some fun with it if you got it, right? Now let's see if we can get him to stay still to prepare to transform him. Okay, to start the transformation of Magmatron, we actually start with some of the pieces. Like we start here with the pommel of his sword. We start by stretching out and folding out this portion here. This part does take a little bit of effort due to the extra parts that are inside it. So they want us to fold them out, but we can't fold them out until we get this bit out. So kind of a contradiction in terms, but there we go, we can get one of them out. Can we get the other one, or should we finish folding? I think we're going to try to see if we can fold this thing out entirely. Nope, gotta open it all up. And then people wonder why I like to let my thumbnails grow out. There we go, now we got it to fold out. Get those side pieces out entirely. We get it stretched all the way out like so. And then we make sure that this piece here that the weapon connects to kind of gets folded downward like so. Although the drawing kind of shows us upside down. Because trust me, there is no way to rotate any of this. There we go, that's the better way. We hadn't unfolded it all. There we are, totally unfolded. Set that aside for a moment. And then now we get the shield. Start here by folding the back fins so that they lay kind of flat. And these are the front fins. Get them folding flat, rotate them around like so. Then we come up here top side, pull these sections up and out. Just like that. Fold this central piece in, then fold up the back part. And then this is now ready. Set it aside. Then now comes the fun part. We get to take him apart. Okay, the first thing the instructions want us to do is we've got to remove the Elasmosaurus here. We're going to move the neck out of the way, since it's kind of connected to the arms. First thing they want us to do is make sure the bird's wings are out of the way. And then they should pop free. Problem is that they connect to the chest. So they are a bit of a pain to separate. Doop-de-doom. And you can see a lot of the interior here. Excuse me, I'm going to knock the camera down if I'm not careful. Okay, after a little tugging and pulling, and some inappropriate language that we know we can't say here on YouTube, we finally got the arm unit separated. These tabs in here stick in very secure, so when you got him attached together, he does stay together pretty well, but I'm sure after repeated playings, that won't last. Now it leaves us with the rest of him. We come here, we remove the bird claws from his chest, and then he should just pull out like that, and then we're left with the other dinosaur. Alright then, now we can prepare for individual transformations. Okay, for starters, we'll start with the Seasaurus, as he's referred to here in the instructions. So he's just as good as anybody to start with. They want us to start here with the neck of the dinosaur and kind of stretch it out. Then fold out the base of it so that it sticks out. Then once we've done that, we can fold over the whole shebang like that, so that we got it all stretched out. Then we come down here to the underside. They want us to fold the shoulders inwards, but also rotate the arms and kind of fold them down so that they point out the back. And there we go, just exactly like that. Once the arms are in that position, though, we gotta rotate them so that we get them out to the side, pointing outwards. Rotate them at the bicep. Get them rotated fully around. No, I guess I turned them too far. Drawings are hard to tell. The drawings are showing things that aren't on here, so they should face the opposite way before we lock them into place. Because apparently, yeah. Locking them to place involves this little post right here at the base of the shoulder, connecting to a hole right here on the arm itself. Yeah, that's the right spot. There we go. We got the arms connected, like so. And since they have double jointed elbows, you can fold the arms upward and downward, like so, to get them inside. Then once we've done that, you can let them loose a little bit. They're on a special hinge so that you will shift them to the one side and then turn them over and then lock them in place. Then they can be folded and the whole body can be folded in and attached. And we come also down here and fold out the little dinosaur tail. Fold up the sides of the dinosaur. Make sure it kind of lines up here so it can connect. But we don't want to connect it just yet. Just make sure the connection's good. Because then we got to get the shield. And it's all got to get connected. Start by connecting it near the front. So that way you can bring the neck section down to help hold it in place. And then you can make adjustments to the rear of the dinosaur. And try to get it all folded down. For some reason he's not doing that. I think I got him backwards. Let me check. Okay, yeah, part of my problem was I didn't have it in the right position. It should be at a slight angle, not perfectly straight. But once you get it all secured like that, definitely make sure to bring up the butt section, get it all closed down, and then connect the base of the neck. And in here you have a Caesaurus. And this is an impressive looking little model of one. Of course, it's updated from the original molds and such due to reflect on how we've come to understand dinosaurs now. And it's got some decent articulation here. I mean, you can move the front fins. They're synchronized like that, so you can kind of get some swimming action going here. And of course, those fins are on a ball joint, so they will rotate around, and of course they can bend. The back ones are static, they don't do anything, but this neck is articulated in so many places. I mean, there's a ball joint right at the base. Plus, it can move there. There's another ball here where it can move and spin. We got another one right up a little further that does the same thing. And we got a ball joint at the base of the head. So you can do that with it. And he even has an opening jaw. Look at that. He can even smile. And he's got a painted tongue. This one's definitely one of my favorites on this here, folks, because this has a lot of display options. So I kind of like this mode. It's a pain in the butt to transform it, but when you get it done, there's no doubt there's some satisfaction with it. Alright, let's move on to the next part. Okay, next up is Skysaurus. So, we start with Skysaurus by reaching in here and getting the bird head out. And we stretch it out all the way like that. Shift the legs over a little bit, because we're going to take this section down here, and we fold it up. It will cover Magmatron's face and form the belly of the beast. And of course, once we've done that, we can adjust the feet, shift the wings a bit, and there we have it. The Skysaurus. This guy just looks plain weird. But again, you get a fair amount of articulation on him. There's a lot of articulation here at the head. The head's on something of a ball joint, so it can rotate around and it can look up and down. The beak opens up. And he even also has a painted tongue. The claws on the edge of the wings here are on ball joints, so they can be turned around and they can bend in one direction. The wings are articulated both at the elbow and here at the shoulder. The shoulder even rotates. You've got articulation at his hip. You can bend him at the knee and at the ankle. So again, you get a lot of posability out of these guys. This is incredible. This is nice. I mean, don't really care for the size of him, but that's a minor gripe, really. You're getting a lot of articulation for a $90 transformer here. As you should. So, while the robot's articulation is kind of terrible, so far these two dinosaurs have really shown that he's got some hidden talents in there. Alright, time for the last one. Okay, now for the Landsaurus. Instructions seem to show that his legs are straightened. Probably to make him straight for the robot. We're going to have to bend them later, but right now we'll just play along. Alright, they say for starters we gotta fold down these chest panels. I will warn you now, when he's fresh out of the box, this is pretty stiff. I had to use a small screwdriver to help pry him free. I'm not too proud to admit that, but you do what you gotta do, especially on this channel. Then we reach in here, and we got a section here to pull out straight. So we fold that out. Trust me, it took a while to figure out what in the heck they were doing on the instructions with this. And then it involves that we've got to pull the body upwards a bit. As you see, it's stretched out. Then once we do that, we come in here and we can turn this section so it brings the dinosaur head forward. And of course, once we do that, we can fold down the robot's chest pieces, and then they fold independently of each other, so we bring them together and clamp them in solid. Then we can lay down this piece that we folded out earlier. Just get it so it lays down and covers up the top of that. And we come up here and we're going to fold up the head. And then we can fold up these side panels, and these will help form the arms. There are a lot of places that they connect to on the side of the toy, including to this black piece here that holds onto the head. So make sure that you get them lined up and secured on there real good so it won't fall apart. Just like that. And in that position, he almost looks like the dinosaur Hasbro included with the G.I. Joe Dino Hunter back in the 90s. And then we spread his legs apart a bit, because now we're going to take that extra piece, and this part here that the sword attached to, it gets connected in down here. If any of you just heard a sudden noise in here, that's because the bird fell. I'm going to fold it up a bit because this tab here has to connect into this hole way back here near the dinosaur's butt. Got to fold it out a little bit more. There we go, that's better. And you work it in there as best you can. It's not going to be a good fit, partially because I can't see what I'm doing. That and too much dinosaur is in my way. Unfortunately, he doesn't move any further, so there we go, we got it in. Then once it's in, we can fold down the dinosaur body. Because apparently a portion of it is going to stick inwards into it. So we got to redo this. Get it so the pommel piece is pointing upward. There we go. Now it's in right. So this, the chest plate, can help hook on and hold it in place. So now with everything all in there, make sure all these panels are setting in place. Already came apart on me. There we go, that's better. Let's get up here and start folding this all in. That way it gets more of him connected. Come back here and adjust the tail so it's out. Down here to his feet, there's some extra claws in between the big claws. We gotta fold them backward. Then, of course, once we've done that, before we pull him all apart, we get him situated to help hide these areas with the muscular legs. Shift the legs around and bend them down. And of course, make sure to get the hands freed and bring them out too. And then there we have the Landsaurus. And even though it's not quite as articulated, it's still got some good parts about him. I mean, we got plenty of articulation at the hip like we saw earlier. You can bend him at the knee and at the ankles. So you get plenty of standing poses. The little arms do rotate, and they bend at the shoulder. The dinosaur does have a moving head, and it's on a slight ball joint, so you can rotate it to the sides. And while you can open his mouth, you can't really do it all that much. So unfortunately, this guy's articulation is a little less impressive, if you know what I mean, and I'm sure many of you do. So there is a downside to it. Oh well, not everything can be perfect. Okay, so you get one robot that transforms into three independent dinosaurs. Some of you might out there be going, "Hey Sparkster, that's enough fun for me," but we're not done yet. Oh no sir, we are not done yet. Because there is one more mode that they do have. They have a combined dinosaur mode. And boy does it look weird. Alright, for starters, we take Ceosaurus here. You get him so his head's all up. We fold up his tail. And then, of course, fold up that section here so that we can separate the two halves. Don't tell me I did that good of a job that it's stuck. Nope, there we go. That's good. Alright, starting with the lower section. You come back, turn it over onto its belly. Fold up the tail section. There's a little hole here that you can see. It should connect on that post right down there. And of course we're going to straighten out the front fins and turn them around at their shoulder joint. Then we flip him over and we're going to fold down the insides. It just needs folded down like so. And we got to bring up the shield post just like that. Then we come back to the dinosaur. We got to shift the back piece down. Slide this portion back down. That was the part that was getting to me. Rotate the hands out. Get his arms all stretched out. Get them so they face the same way. And then rotate the hands so they point the other way. And then open up the fingers. And then you can bring up the shoulders. You gotta come in here to the upper portion, fold out these black tabs. And there's a black piece here in the center that we also fold up. And then those two parts are ready. We're going to set them aside for the moment. But we will be using that. We will be starting with them quite soon. We get Landsaurus here. Take this part here, and you're going to fold it upwards. Like that. And then you will take the dinosaur arm bits. And we're going to take the shield connector, and it is going to connect onto the dinosaur tail. Right here with this extra plastic that's protruding from the tail. There we go. Just snap it into place. So once you got it in there, it's not a very solid connection. It pops free very easily, as you just saw. There we go. Hopefully we got it this time. Nope, there it went again. Youch. I just got pinched. Okay. Nope. There we go. Alright, now that we've done that, these clips have some tabs that'll connect inside to help hold him. I'm going to try to find that. Excuse me. Okay, we figured out the connection points. It's probably easier to do it without attaching the dinosaur, but these plastic tabs that we fold out, they connect into these into the back hole here at the shoulder. You just use the front portion. The back part of the tab just hangs loose. So once you've got that in there, then you've got a stable base so that the feet don't move, so none of the other parts will move. Then we should be able to get him in and hope gravity helps hold him together. Now the next step is to take the shield piece, and then it gets attached on top of the top Ceosaurus like it had been before. So basically we took it apart just to open him up to attach the one and then to close it up. And to hold this together, and then attach the two halves in. This one shield tab here should line up and connect onto the hole on the dinosaur tail, or at least help hold it together. Here we go again. Okay, once we got this piece connected, you would basically solidify the connection by putting the Ceosaurus's neck portion back in. And now we get Skysaurus. You take Skysaurus, rotate his wings at the shoulder so they point downward like so. Fold down his feet and fold up his head. And then you will basically connect him on top. Basically, he connects laying down. Right in and around here. Connect him on like that. Then once he's on, the last thing that's needed to do is we bring up his head and you bring up Caesaurus's head. And then you have a Magmasaurus. Or a rejected merger of a Power Rangers Megazord. This mode's not doing it for me, folks. There's a pain in the neck to transform it into that, and the end result, I don't get it. But maybe that's just me. Alright, we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of Magmatron? Well, Magmatron's kind of a mixed blessing, if I've got to be honest with you. And of course, that's what this channel is based off of. We got to give honest reviews. The robot mode, it looks okay. The posability is limited, but he kind of makes up for it in the size category. He's a big bad character, and he looks it. And in the robot mode, he certainly does give it to you. And with you having the option of a single sword and shield, or to go with the dual sword mode, you do have a few options. The blast effects, I don't really get it. That doesn't work out well for me, and I think it looks pretty stupid just being a part of the sword. The 3 dinosaur modes, they're not bad. The Seasaurus and the Skysaurus are fantastic. The Landsaurus leaves a little to be desired, unfortunately. And unfortunately, the combined Magmasaurus, I really don't like it. It looks too much like it's cobbled together, and it's a pain in the neck to get it transformed properly. Just due to the way the connections are set up. I think it should have been designed a little bit better. Because it is frustrating to get it in that mode, and there are going to be a fair amount of children, and maybe even some adults, that after 1 or 2 attempts, they're going to give up with it, because it's just too much of a pain to get him in that mode. I mean, the toy is recommended for 8+, it says so right here in the instructions. But I think more of the kids will probably have fun getting him into the dinosaur modes. It might just leave him there. All in all, it's a mixed blessing. It's a $90 toy for him being a commander class. Is he worth it? Probably. If you're a fan of dinosaurs or characters that are lesser known to the American audiences, you might want to pick this guy up. It's not totally bad, but it does have a few shortcomings with it. At any rate, that's my review of Magmatron from the Legacy United line. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please do remember that if you enjoyed the content we feature on this video, we would appreciate likes, shares, comments, and subscriptions. And of course, this is the last video we'll be showing for the year. So next year in 2025, we're going to continue a little bit on Legacy United, because we have a few I haven't shown. There's also still a few toys we haven't acquired for it yet. Hopefully after Christmas we'll find some of them. And we also have some other surprises. because one that I ordered way back in August during our sales tax-free weekend here in Ohio finally arrived. And for those of you that like my Lego G.I. Joe builds, we've got plenty more of them coming this next year. So 2025 is hopefully going to be a good year for us. I'd like to see us get closer to 600 subscribers or more. Let's see what the year holds for us. This is Sparkster1701 saying Happy New Year to all of you. We wish for peace on Earth, and I'll catch you all later.